Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be designing in Canvas Workspace. What we're going to be making is a street, or you could even say a village. I am calling it Up My Street, but you can call it whatever you like. And here is what I've done with the design. I've turned it into this little card here. It now says, "Follow your dreams." As you can see, it's a row of houses and a church as well. And it was all done from scratch on my ScanNCut, apart from the sentiment and, of course, the little pearls here. And the butterfly as well. That was also a fussy cut. So, it was not difficult to do. It's really straightforward. And you will soon be making your own villages if you stick with me, because I'm going to show you how. This is only going to require a few basic shapes, such as a square, a triangle, and a circle, and we'll add some more as we go along, but let's start with these. So I'm going to move this circle out of the way for now. I'm going to bring my square and my triangle together. And for this, I'm going to bring this triangle down a bit, squash it, so to speak. And I want it to be a little bit wider than the house itself. So if I centralize that, you can get a better idea of the basic shape here. So I'll make it a little taller. I'm going to add a chimney, so I'm just going to duplicate that. And I can put my chimney somewhere along there. That back to the center. And now I'm going to weld that together. And there is our first house. And I'm going to actually duplicate that. I'm going to flip it around. And I think I'm going to bring it in. Just like that. A little bit narrower, like so. I've got another house. I'm going to bring this one over now. Just move those out of the way. And this, I'm going to make it wider. I'm going to bring in a different shape for the roof. And I'm going to this, under this polygon, I've got this one here that I'll bring in. Like I did with the triangle, I'm going to just squash it down a bit. And then I'll arrange it to the center. That looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to bring in something for the chimney. I think I'm going to do something a little different with this one. bring it out more like that, and then have a second that could come up here, maybe like that. So let's look at it, weld it, and we can see how that's going to look. I'm going to actually bring this in more. That's looking a little better, I think. Let's try that. Oh yes, I'm happier with that. So now, put it to the center. Let's just overlap that and then align it to the center again and weld it. And we have yet another house. Next, I'm going to go back over and grab one of those rectangles that I have up here. Duplicate that again. And to mix this one, because all these I'll resize later. They're not going to stay that large. In fact, I'm going to make this one bigger. This one, I'm going to make a church out of it. So I want it to be narrow but tall. So if I compare it to the houses there, what I'll do is I'm first going to make another little house here with a triangle for a roof. Squash it. Let's see. Okay, got a bit of an overhang there now. And then I'm going to weld that. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to set it up here like this, except I'm going to bring it in a little more so it's a little narrower than the one below it. So I'll align it. Okay, so now I'm getting that tower look. And here I want a steeple with a cross on top. And for that, I can just use another one of these rectangles. I'll zoom in here. So this I'm going to narrow it down. Like so. And I want this to taper. So to do that, what I'll do is I'll bring up the nodes. And I'm going to add some here along the top. So just keep hitting the add point. Right. I'll do one more here. So that will be even across the top. Curve it. And then I'm just going to start to remove those. Don't know if I'll need to do that one. Let's try it and see. There we are. That's better. So now I can zoom back out. Might want to make that a little wider. And we'll align it, and there we have our steeple. So now for the cross, all we need are a couple of rectangles. It should be all right. And then we'll duplicate that and rotate it 90 degrees. And then we're going to put it into the center. Actually, I'll move that up first, and I'm also going to shorten that a little bit. There we are. And then weld that together. I can put it here on top of the steeple and weld it again. Oops. See how that looks, if that looks any better. Yep, that's better. Okay, so there is our church. Now all I'm doing at the moment is just making the outlines. We'll go back and add in windows and doors later on. So let's see what we have here. We've got 4 of these. That is probably going to be enough for what I want for this card. This is going to be what I would call up my street, or up your street. No, I think we'll call it up my street, actually. So that is going to be used for a window, especially in this church here. All right. So let's go back and get some more pieces for the windows. We'll go back and get us another square, that's fine. And down here, maybe one of these for a door. Something like that. Which, of course, we will need to rotate it. We'll have that just for a normal door. And we'll play with all of those. Let's see if there's anything else. Not at the moment, I don't think. So let's go back over. And I'm going to duplicate these. Push them off to the side there because we'll work with that later. These are the ones I'm going to use now to put in the windows and doors. So let's start here with this one. Bring in a door. And there's some windows. Just like that. I'll align those so they're opposite each other, but I'll bring them closer together, I think, and then group them. I can put in the center there. Do the same with these. Group those. And then align them to the center. Right, so we have another house completed with doors and windows. Next is the church. I think we use this for the door. A nice big door there. And we'll have a couple of windows here. Let's put this one up here. And then let's get that out of the way. Okay. I can ungroup that, and then I'll bring in another window here. Something like that, and then we can align these again to the center. I'm going to group that so when I move it, it's not going to come apart. I'm going to do the same with this one. I want it to stay together. So this is the next house. I'm going to put the door off to the side like that, and we'll have a little window here. I'm going to put a nice big window up there. So align it. what I needed to do here was actually group that first. And then align it. Then I can group it and take it to the side, and then this is our last house. I think I've run out of rectangles. Let's go back and get one. So, this one. I'm going to just make these like slit type windows. Just want to be sure they're not too narrow. Something like that, and I'll duplicate that. So I'm going to align these two at the top. And then these two I'll group together and then place them in the center of that. I'm going to go back and get another of the circles. Bring that in. A nice big window there. So that also will go into the center, and I'm going to group that. So let's go back out and take a look at what we've got so far. So we've got one, there's one, we've got two, we've got three, and we've got four. So I'm going to align them all to the bottom. I don't know if I'm going to need those. I probably get rid of those. But let's go ahead and do this. And align it to the bottom. Also, I'm going to give it some color. Right? And then I want to place it so that they overlap. Maybe I want this. Okay, let's fix that up a bit. Okay, so could have this here. Go bring this house in next. Actually, put the church to make it a little bit bigger. Now this one over here. Okay, and now line them at the bottom. And that looks like it should be alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group it. And duplicate it. So then I can go over here and just delete those. I'm not going to need those, because I'm going to work with this one and this one. So I'm going to push that off to the side. And this one is going to be my mat. So I'm going to weld those houses together, and I'm also going to then create another outside mat. So I'm going to just highlight everything and weld it, and I can see immediately that I've got a little bit of a problem here. It hasn't quite overlapped, so use the undo button. Very easy to fix. And then I'll ungroup that so that I can move. I'll move the church over just a bit until that overlaps. Let's try it again. I think that's going to be all right this time. So I'll zoom back out and select all of my buildings and weld it. And there we have our mat. So I'm also going to offset this so I have an outward mat as well, because this is what's going to go behind the houses, and then this will be to give it a bit of a shadow. So I'm going to go outwards. I think that should be alright. 6, let's try that. Give it a fill with black, and then I can send that behind. And if I decide not to use it, of course I don't have to. So we've got that as well now. Right, now let's push that off to the side. And we're going to be dealing next with these. So I want to punch out all these windows and doors, but first I need to ungroup it. And move them apart from each other, like that. And then I should be able to go in and either divide or use the subtract, that, and punch through the doors and windows. We didn't want that to happen, so let's do the undo and see what the problem is. Let's go to, it's still grouped, so we need to ungroup that, and we need to be sure that that is to the back as well. Now we should have success. There we are. Let's do this one next. And that one was fine. Right, so now we have all our houses. And they are going to go onto our background. I'm going to, just for this, I'm going to change the color of that. And then I'm going to give each of these houses
a different color as well. So let's have a nice colorful street, shall we? Let's have that. We can have a church that is, we'll do that for the church. We'll change this one to, how about a green? And finally, we'll have a purple house. There we are. So now all we have to do is to place these on top of this. So they will fit over like so. Of course, we'll just piece those in when we get them over to the card to actually make the card itself. So now we have the basic structure. Now we need to also get it to the right size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring everything together so that when we resize it all the same. So bring it down in size like so. My plan is to have a 5x7 card. So let me bring in something for that. And I'm going to change this to the card back. So this is going to be my card base, I should say. This is going to be 4 and this is going to be 6.5 wide because it's going to be a landscape card. 6.5 and then 4.5. And then I'll have a mat and then my blank after that. So we can see what sort of area we've got to work with. So if I color that white, we'll bring all this to the front. And I'll start bringing it down in size. Just dragging those handles there, grabbing that and resizing it. So now it's just under 4 inches in height. So I'm going to stick with that for the moment. I'm actually going to push this off to the side as well now, because something else I want to do is to create my street, and that's going to include a fence. So for my fence, I'll bring in a square, and I'm going to bring in a circle. Right. Let's see how high up fence be. Let's zoom in here. And we'll make this a rectangle. Don't want it too narrow. Maybe about like that. And then I'll bring the circle down to that same size. to the center and to the top. And then what I'll do is I'll just use the arrow keys on my keyboard to move that up to where I want it. And I think about halfway should be about right. And I'll weld these together. Make sure that they are centered. They are. I'm going to weld it. So that is the start of my fence. So if I zoom back out, at the moment this is a little over 5 inches, 5 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to make it just slightly. I'm going to widen it just a bit. Like that. Let's take a look again. Okay. So my fence is going to span the width of these houses here. Actually, it could start out here a little bit. So what I'm going to do is duplicate it. Move that out of the way. I'm going to align these to the bottom just to make it easier for myself. I'm going to duplicate it while it's still together like that. Put them to the bottom. And then let's spread them out. See how wide that is at the moment. That's quite large. Let's bring that back in just a little. So I'll distribute the space. Do something like that. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just eliminate a couple of these. Maybe even one of those, that would be fine. So now I'm going to group these. And then I'm going to take another square and I'll turn it into a rectangle. I'll have it the same width as those, I think. Let's see, these were, I think, about 15 or so. Yes, 15. All right, so I'll make that maybe slightly more. And then what I'll do is I'll have it so it overlaps those last two fence posts. You can see there and there. So then I should be able to weld those together to form our fence. Everything is already aligned, so now we'll just do that, and we have our white picket fence. Or you could colour it whatever you like, of course. So we're nearly there. I'm going to just move that down here, and I think I'm going to change the colour of that background just so I can distinguish it a little more. That should be alright. So next thing I want to do is to actually make the pavement. So for that, I'll go back and bring in a rectangle, and then I'm going to use, I think, this arrow shape as a pavement feature. So I'm going to first, as I said, make this, let's make it the size of the fence here. Play with that size a little bit more. The houses, or the buildings, I should say. Just move that out of the way for now. Go up here. I could have my fence here, so we'll bring that down the size of the houses there. Something along that line. And we'll do the same with this. What I'll do now is bring in these shapes here, or this shape I should say. Put that in here. I think probably half an inch should be enough. Play with the shape of it, something like that, and then I'm going to duplicate this. I'll align those to the bottom. Duplicate those again just to make it a little faster. Let's see what we've got so far. So let's take that, align it, and I think that could probably come in a little closer. Let's see what size we have. It's at 6, almost 6.5 at the moment. So let's bring this in a little closer. And I'm going to zoom out. And see where we are at the moment. Let's see, this is I take that one out. Let's group these. And line them to this piece here. I think that's going to be just fine. So let's now duplicate that and ungroup it. Just get rid of those. This is just going to be a solid piece here. So I'll give it some fill. And then this. That should be ready to then punch through. So I chose process overlap and subtract. That can fit over top of that now, so that we can see what it's going to look like. And then we'll arrange it like that. And bring the fence to the front. That's looking pretty close to what I think I have in mind. Let's see, maybe we should break this. Let's take this and make it more narrow. I might just bring that down just a little bit like that, except I can't do that until I bring this over here and do them both at the same time. All three of these actually. There we are. Right, I think I'm happy with that. So, this is going to be your up my street, something to that effect. So before I send it to the machine, I need to be sure that I've ungrouped everything. So we've got all the various layers here. We don't really need that because we can just cut that out on the trimmer. So we've got these two, then we have our various houses. So let's ungroup those. And we have our pavement. And I think that should be everything. I can quickly check by zooming out to all objects on the mat. And so it's only selected these, and I've ensured that they are inside of that red bounding line. So that is pretty much the basics done. So I'm ready to send this to the machine so that we can cut this out, and then anything else that we want to add, we can do probably just at the machine itself. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll be back and show you what we're going to do.
With the card blank, which is a 5x7, so this is being cut at 10x7, and I'm going to score right down the middle at 5 inches. And I'll fold and burnish it. And I have all the other pieces prepped. I've got all my cutouts, as well as my mat and my background. So I'm going to put these down. Got my mat here, and I've got the other piece that's going to go behind the buildings. We've got this one, we've got the church. I've got the smallest house, which can go like that. And then we have this one as well. Right, so I'm going to start with the end one. Just going to use this quick grab glue. Hopefully it's going to stay stuck onto this mirror board, this mirror card. Don't slide too much. Going to the church next. This is American Craft cardstock, and these are just little scrap pieces that I had in my stash. So this is sort of where you can use up all these bits, and since I was able to just scan them in with my ScanNCut, I could place the files directly on top, and I think I've got a picture of that, and I'll show that probably at the end of this video. We have our little pink house. I intended to print out a sentiment for this that said something like, you're right up my street, or even welcome to the neighborhood. However, my printer decided to have a wobble, so that wasn't possible. I'm going to have to try to sort that out. But I did find this, Follow Your Dreams. I've put some foam tape on the back to give it a little dimension. Put that on the front. And I put a little bit of this glue on there as well, for added security. So, follow your dreams. And that helps to pick up on that green a little bit, I think, as well. There we are. I noticed that there was a little bit of a tear here in this fence, although it could just be a broken fence. But what has happened is, I think it got snagged when I was taking it off the mat, so I'm going to solve that with a butterfly. Nothing that can be solved by placing a butterfly or a bow over it. So I've just fussy cut this little butterfly, and I'll have him here on the fence. And that goes with the pink as well. So a happy accident. To put some of these flat back adhesive pearls here in that corner up there. So there we have our Up My Street card completed, all the way from Canvas Workspace to the finished card. And I hope you'll agree that it wasn't very difficult to do. Designing the houses is really very straightforward, and you could use this for so many different variations. One thing I thought of was to have it go this way, and then perhaps have a hill or a street that winds up, and then you could have all your little houses up at the top and then coming down at the bottom. So you build a little scene, because you can easily, of course, change the sizes of these, and then you can make it your own little village. Thank you so much to all of you who joined me today, and I do hope that you had a very happy Christmas. I'm filming this just after Boxing Day of 2021, so we are heading now into the new year, and so I'd like to take this opportunity to also wish you a very happy new year, and hopefully 2022 is going to be kinder to us than the last 2 years have been. If you aren't already subscribed to the channel, I hope that you would consider doing so today. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you won't miss out on any future videos. And as always, please stay safe and crafty hugs. Bye.